This is the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Schweikert, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes and revise the emergency.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, this is one of those moments where you come to the floor. I'm unscripted, and I want to sort of share something from the heart that actually has really, really disturbed me watching this debate over the last few days. I'm from Arizona, and I like to say I am a friend of Gabby Giffords, and I've known her for a very long time. Do we all remember 3 years ago when this House came together, when my media in Arizona and the media across this country said, whoa, maybe it's time to actually take a step backwards and reflect on our use of language, reflect on our tone, reflect on our civility. And yet, look what you've heard over the last 2-3 days, over this last week. I have a president that got behind the microphones and was literally talking down the stock market, asking why hasn't it gone down. I have one of the heads of the intelligence services fearful that the intelligence service officers are bribable now because some are on furlough. I've had members come to the microphone right off the side of me here and use language like terrorist. The White House has stood behind the use of the language of gun to the head. You want to talk about something that's offensive. And this is to all my brothers and sisters here in Congress and for the blogs and the reporters and the political operatives around this country. You're better. We are better than this. A good example is you just heard the representative from New Jersey come to the microphone. I can only say nice things about his tone. He made his argument in a rational, constructive way. We have different views of the world. There was none of the flailing of the hands and the screaming into the microphone. And you have to start to take a step backwards and wonder, why the theater? Why the viciousness on the theater coming from the left? I hope we don't look back a month from now and find out that some of this was about money, fundraising, the politics of cash. Because the reality, this argument is actually pretty darn simple. Those of us on the conservative side believe we have reached out over and over. And if you really want a solution, and this is to Senator Reid, send over some members to that conference committee. Put them in a room and let them start talking. You know, I'm from that view of the world that a big deal is healthiest for the country. But then I will hear language like, well, we're heading towards the debt ceiling and you're going to default. Anyone that says that is looking you in the eyes and lying to you. Either that or they don't own a calculator. You got to understand the math. This country takes in 18% of GDP in taxes. And we pay out 2% in debt coverage. And in 2014, we have, what, $1.6 trillion in refinancing. The fact of the matter is, any way you ladder the model, ever, 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 and I'm also quoting Bill Gross from a couple of days ago, we're never, ever, 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 it's implausible that we won't make our interest payments. You have a $3.1 trillion we're going to take in tax revenues. We're going to spend about $3.7 trillion. So using language like, well, we're going to default, has the left decided that they're hungry to scare the markets, hungry to scare the world debt markets? And is this how you leverage politics? Look, I understand we have different views. I actually believe the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is part-timing America, is destroying so many people's opportunities. But I also do believe we do have to come up with solutions and continued solutions for pre-existing conditions, as someone with severe asthma. But we have our vision. We want to get to the same goal. So to my friends on the Democrat side, particularly over in the Senate, 2 years ago, you lit up my phones in my office demanding that we talk and negotiate on other issues. So that rhetoric was acceptable in the summer of 2011. But today, it's not. How about just a little bit of intellectual consistency from the left? And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.